Hey guys, Mr. Lancaster here. Welcome back. So we're on a new week and we're going to start something new. We are going to be doing animal adaptations, and today we're going to be learning about selection. So what is selection and what does it mean? So I'm going to share my screen with you. We're going to go on my Google Classroom right here. Okay. And I added on to the science link to activities. So before it was at the top, it was all this mystery 1, 2, 3, 4. Then had April 20th onward, and now we're on May 4th. So we're on mystery 5 right here. Can selection happen without people? And basically, selection is when you, when you select something on purpose, just so you can get the certain traits that you want. For example, we do this all the time with dogs. If you want a Siberian Husky, you're going to get a Siberian Husky and another Siberian Husky, and mom and dad is going to have another Siberian Husky son or daughter, right? Just like if you have a lab and a lab, you won't have Siberian Husky out of it. That's like never happened. So what we do is we select these things. Also, another thing is that we'll also select things not just for their breed, but for certain things like we want to make them really small. So for example, we breed the smallest dog that we can find with another smallest dog we can find, and then we breed them together. And then sometimes our puppies come out even smaller than them. Or for example, we do that with um, big dogs. We take two of the biggest dogs and we try and get them for try and get a really big dog. For whatever reason, some people just want it because they want a bigger animal to work with, or maybe because they want just a really small cute dog. Some people are for it, some people are against it, some people like it, some people dislike it. Some people think that we should just let dogs do what they want. But these are all just people's opinions, and you can always just choose your opinion. You make your opinion as you want. I'm not going to give an opinion, I'm just going to give you the facts. So we're going to talk about what selection is some more. And can selection happen without people? Because we put these animals together. And just like one example is the Belgian blue cow. This is an example of a selection. They took the biggest, strongest cows and bulls, and then they put them together, and then they come out. These are real. You can actually watch videos of this, and it's called selective breeding. And they did this to make them really big and muscular. Why would they do this? Because we eat cows. Most people do. I don't eat cows anymore. Sorry. And then and then when you have like a really big cow with a lot of meat up there, it helps because then you can sell when you kill it and then you cut the meat all off of it, then there's more meat to give to people. Again, this isn't another thing where it's like this is right or wrong or good or bad. I'm not here to say that. I'm just here to say like this is like what we do. This is what some people do, and you can form your own opinion about it. So this is actually a real cow. It's crazy how big and muscular this is. Cows don't get anywhere this big, but as you can see, it's humongous. You can just see like the muscles all over it. In a way, it's a very smart way of doing it when it comes to that. If you want to have more meat, then yeah, it's really smart, you know? The whole point of us doing this with cows is to get the most, meat that we can. What is it that cows are? Hamburger? Yeah, hamburger. Just making sure I always get my hamburger and like the other meats mixed up with whatever. But anyway, so let's get to the video because Doug is much better at explaining this stuff than I am. Oh, let me share my sound with you. Hold on.
It's Doug.
Oh, hold on, Doug. All right.
Hi, it's
I might be eating a brownie while this is happening. Do not mind me.
Doug. You know that human beings have gotten good at changing how animals look. We saw how people took a wolf-sized dog and over many years, over many generations, turned it into all kinds of different breeds. Small dogs, huge dogs, spotted dogs.
Mm.
It's the process you learned about, called selection. But are there other things that might make selection happen? Could selection happen without human beings involved? By the end of today, you'll be able to figure out the answer to that question. In order to find out the answer, you're going to play a game. It's called Lizard Island. Even though it's just a game, it's based on a real place, using real work that was done by scientists. The game involves a story about creatures like these. Have you ever seen these kinds of lizards? They're lizards that can actually climb directly up the side of walls or trees.
Whoa!
This one's climbing up a wall. The most
Coming out the wall like it's got handlebars or something.
famous of these, like this one, are called geckos. I say they're famous because you can usually find them in any pet store, and they even show up in some TV commercials. But there's another kind of lizard that can do this too, similar to a gecko. It's a lizard called an anole. Now, if you've ever been here to the US state of Florida, home of Disney World, then it's hard not to notice anoles as you walk around because they are everywhere.
Everywhere.
In Florida, there's actually two totally different kinds of anole, and we're going to talk about both of them. One is a big brown kind of anole, and it's called the brown anole. The other is a smaller green one, and it's called the green anole. And this is what our game is all about. You see, one of these species didn't always live in Florida. Before the year 1941, there was just this, the green anole, not the brown anole. The brown anole came from an island nearby. Now, as you can see in this video, green anoles eat insects. Got it right there. Yummy cricket. Now, green anoles are also climbers, and they're able to go high up into the trees if they need to, whether that's to find more insects to eat or to get away from a predator. What makes them good climbers, like any climbing lizard, is that they have these sticky scales on each of their toes. That's what you're seeing here. But in 1941, the brown anoles arrived in Florida. They eat insects too. There's one problem though. Brown anoles are big enough that they don't just eat insects. They also can eat green anoles. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Oh, poor green anoles. Luckily for the green anoles, the brown ones aren't as good at climbing. See, on their feet, brown anoles don't have nearly as many of those sticky toe scales. So without all the sticky toe scales that green anoles have, brown anoles just don't climb as well, and they usually stay close to the ground. Green anoles, on the other hand, usually have around 20 or more of these sticky toe scales on their big toe alone. So in general, green anoles are better climbers than brown anoles. Once the brown anoles arrived in Florida, what do you think happened to the green anoles?
So, what do you think might have happened to the green anoles once the brown anoles arrived in Florida and started to get hungry? Well, of course, the browns wanted to eat the green anoles. So, did the green anoles survive, or what happened? So, and also, don't forget that not all the green anoles are exactly the same. Which green anoles do you think the brown anoles are most likely to catch? So, I wanted to show you this. Actually, I'm going to show
What do you think happened to the green anoles once the brown anoles arrived? You're going to try to figure out the answer to this question yourself. You know an important clue already. Remember this idea? No two individuals are exactly alike. So not all green anoles have the exact same number of sticky toe scales. That means even though all green anoles can climb up into the trees, some green anoles are better climbers than others. Because some green anoles have more sticky toe scales than others.
some green anoles are better climbers than others. So not all green anoles are the same. Some have better sticky scales on their hands than others. So some can climb a lot
green
better.
anoles. The more sticky toe scales a green anole has, the better it climbs. In order to find out how well any green anole can climb, we've got to catch it and count its sticky toe scales. We need to do that for the green anoles that are on the island before the brown anoles arrive. That's what we'll do in the game. Let's start.
Okay, so basically what this is
Get your first set of supplies. When you're done with this step, click the arrow on the right.
what this is basically you're going to get a card and you're basically going to become a lizard. You're either going to be a
Record the number
not
of
so good climber, a
Raise your
good
hand if
climber, or an excellent climber.
raise your hand if you're lizard.
So if you are a not so good, then of course your sticky scales aren't so good. If you are a good climber, you have more sticky cells, and if you're an excellent climber, you have even better sticky cells on your hand. So
Is a
what happens here is
Okay, it's time to find out what happened to the green anoles when the brown anoles arrived. First, let's look at the group of green anoles that are the not so good climbers. The not so good climbers had a hard time getting away from the brown anoles. They just couldn't climb high enough or quickly enough. Many of them got eaten by the brown anoles. You'll find out exactly how many lizards in your class got eaten in just a minute. But let's find out about the other lizards too. What about the group of green anoles that are the good climbers? Well, they were better at getting away from the brown anoles, but a few still got caught. Okay, and what about the group of excellent climbers? They climbed high and fast, and almost all of them got away. Okay, so let's get back to the game and see what this does to our graph.
okay. So
Okay, now we're going to take
what happens here is basically, of course, more of the not so good climbing green anoles are going to be eaten by the brown anoles, right? Because they can't climb as fast and their feet aren't as good as the excellent climbing green anoles. So very few are going to be left. As a matter of
take
fact,
away some lizard cards since
you will see that only 2 people
Okay,
are
now
going to be left for the not so good.
okay, now take away all
And
the
then
odd
the good ones, only about half of them are going to be left. And the excellent ones, most are going to be left.
The brown
So then
anoles
what
ate
happens
lots.
is you have all these lizards that survived from being around brown anoles. So you're going to have who's going to mostly survive? Good climbers or not so good climbers? Good climbers, right? So then with these good climbers, all these good climbers, they're going to get together and then they're going to have babies. And then the babies, they're most likely going to be like their mom and dad, right? Who else are they going to be like? Um, you get all your traits and all of how you are either from your parents. Sometimes you may not look exactly like your parents. Sometimes you may get things from your grandparents, but your parents still got them from their parents. So all of the way you look, the way you act, and all these things come from your parents and all these traits you get. And it's the same for animals. So basically, wait, let's keep going. Go, 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 go. The lizards have selected each other, and
What happened after the brown anoles arrived? Compare the two.
we're going to watch this. So I just want you to think about that. What happens when all of these good climbing lizards survive and then they mate and they find a partner and then they have children? Then you start to remember, like, oh, wait, well, if they were really good climbers, then their children are going to be really good climbers too. So over time, only like the best climbers will start to um, survive. Not all of them, but most of them will be. And then that's how things adapt over time. and we're gonna watch this video when we get back. Well, bye guys. I'll see you tomorrow.